Hello, welcome to English for Everyone, where we practice real-life American English. Today we're going to learn some confusing vocabulary, so let's get started. We have two words. We have horse and horse. They're both pronounced the same, but they mean different things. You know, a horse is an animal. This is a horse. But the word horse spelled differently and pronounced the same can mean a different thing. It's an adjective. Example, I can describe someone's voice. I can say her voice is hoarse. It means her voice is rough, like this. This is a hoarse voice. I have a hoarse voice. Or you can say, I am hoarse. So you can describe the voice and say, her voice is hoarse. Or you can describe the person and say, she is hoarse. And if it's just a little bit, I can say, she's a little hoarse. She's a little hoarse? I know it sounds confusing. She's not an animal. Her voice is rough. She's talking like this. She's a little hoarse. Her voice is hoarse. Let's hear some examples with the adjective hoarse.
You think I go hoarse for a player with no potential?
Tired, okay? My feet hurt, my voice is hoarse.
Nothing. I have a tickle. I've been hoarse.
Doris, my little girl said, I love you, Daddy, and I answered her in a voice still hoarse with passion.
Feel a little hoarse.
Example, she's sick and she's losing her voice. She hasn't lost her voice completely because she can still talk, but when she talks like this. So I can say her voice is rough. And I can also say she's hoarse. She's a little hoarse. Let's practice. Is her voice hoarse? That's right, her voice is hoarse. Is she a little hoarse today? That's right, she's a little hoarse today. She's losing her voice. The coach was yelling. The coach was yelling a lot. And now his voice is hoarse. And I can say he's hoarse, or he's a little hoarse today, because he was yelling a lot. He lost his voice a little bit. His voice is rough, like this. He's a little hoarse. Let's practice. Is his voice hoarse? That's right, his voice is hoarse. Is he a little hoarse today? That's right, he's a little hoarse today. He'll be better tomorrow. Example, they went to a concert and they were screaming the whole concert. They were screaming a lot. So what happened? Well, they lost their voice a little bit. So I can say their voices were hoarse after the concert. I can say they were a little hoarse after the show. Let's practice. Were their voices hoarse after the concert? That's right, their voices were hoarse after the concert. Were they a little hoarse that night after the show? That's right, they were a little hoarse that night after the show. So remember, we have two words. We have horse, the animal, and we have hoarse, the adjective, describing someone's voice, when it sounds like this. That's a hoarse voice. They're pronounced exactly the same, but they're spelled differently. Today we're learning this word, exorbitant. Pronunciation. The X makes the gz sound, like eggs. Eggs. Exorbitant. The T in the middle is between vowels, so it makes a fast D sound. Exorbitant. Exorbitant. And the T at the end is a stop T. Not exorbitant, but exorbitant. And what does it mean? It means very high, extremely high, excessively high, even unreasonably high, especially when talking about prices, and also when talking about time. Example, an exorbitant amount of money. That's a lot of money. Let's hear some examples.
You pay me an exorbitant amount of money to give you good advice.
I want to pay you an exorbitant amount of money
you get the bag and bring it to me.
Besides, they paid me an exorbitant amount of money.
I spent an exorbitant amount of time reading.
You're asking an exorbitant sum.
You waste an exorbitant amount of time. You know that?
Example, he bought a car and he paid a lot of money for it. He paid a really, really high price. So I can say he paid an exorbitant amount of money. The price was exorbitant. I can say they charged him. They charged him an exorbitant amount of money. Let's practice. Did he pay an exorbitant amount of money for the car? That's right, he paid an exorbitant amount of money for the car. Did they charge him an exorbitant amount of money? That's right, they charged him an exorbitant amount of money for the car. A very, very high price. Today we're learning this adjective, harrowing. It looks like a verb with ing, but it's not a verb. Harrowing is an adjective that means something that was distressing, disturbing, difficult. You could say traumatic, maybe something stressful or dangerous. It could be something dangerous, but it doesn't have to be something dangerous. Just something that causes a lot of stress, something that's very difficult, disturbing, or distressing is harrowing. Example, my wife and I went to the beach, and it was very windy that day, and the wind was blowing the sand in the air. And everywhere we went, we had sand blowing in our faces. It was horrible. I said it was a harrowing experience. Very distressing. So I can describe experience. I can say it was a harrowing experience. Something very difficult to deal with. Let's hear some examples.
Take 3, 2, 1. Coming up, inside the harrowing experience of 3 American hostages held in Lahore. Coming up, inside the harrowing experience of 3 American hostages held in Lahore.
The traffic to her place, harrowing, truly.
Not the storm of the century, nor a harrowing serum run could stop him.
One woman relates her harrowing experience in the hands of the vigilante gunslinger.
Final hero describing the harrowing scene as they grabbed whatever they could of their precious possessions and fled for their lives.
Inside the harrowing experience of 3 American hostages held in Lahore.
On the matter immediately. And at the heart of this harrowing story is a man who has lived 2 lives. A man who started over out of the darkness.
Example, they work at the bank, and one day the bank was robbed, and people pointed guns at them. Nobody was hurt. The robbers just took the money and left. But they said after it was a harrowing experience. Very distressing. Let's practice. They were robbed at gunpoint. People pointed guns at them and robbed them. Was it a harrowing experience? That's right, it was a harrowing experience. Thank you for watching, and if you like this video, subscribe to our channel. And if you want to become a member, click the join button. And we'll see you next time.